thanks for having the business track. I think it's awesome that we have business. People should have businesses. And marketing is tech, especially if you nerd out about the data. I'm not a data person, I'm an instinct person. But Sam said I should talk to you about marketing for freelancers and small agencies, but marketing is so like, it'd be like saying, we're gonna talk about websites and all the technology that is used to build a website in 45 minutes. So I'm going to narrow it down a little bit for us. So what's marketing? Marketing is using resources to bring your product or service to the attention of your customer, who is the market. That's my definition. I'm self-taught. I've been doing this for 10 years, but I was a teacher with an emphasis in psychology, and that's pretty much all you need anyway. You need to understand people, and you need to understand and communicate. So, yeah, I know that you knew that, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. And marketing can be so much. There's the data nerds who want to like sift through Google Analytics all day long, and they can do that. I'm not going to watch water boil. All I care about is time on site, but that's another presentation. So I'll tell you what not to do. So it's recently Girl Scout season, which if you're excited for cookies, that's really exciting. But I'll tell you what's not exciting is 2 Girl Scout nerds at the end of my block on bullhorns yelling, "We have Girl Scout cookies" for 20 minutes. So maybe it worked for them. I hope that somebody called the Dana Point Police Department because it was super annoying. And you don't want to just broadcast your message out. So for the purposes of this, I'm not going to talk about networking or flyer distribution or paid advertising or anything like that, but I'm going to tell you, you definitely don't want to be the person who's just shouting your message over and over and over again. If you've ever been to any meetup that Steve Zenger has ever been in and asked any question he's ever been addressed about business or websites or marketing, you have heard him say, "What are your business goals?"
Wow, that sounds just like me.
I know, right? So obviously I had to have this slide. But it's true. What are you trying to accomplish? Because people ask me all the time, "Oh, Bridget, I want your help because I want to do blah, blah, blah." I go, what does that even mean? Like the other day I was, 2 months ago, I was with a client talking about their business and everything. And basically it sort of felt like going to coffee with your girlfriend. And a lot of times women communicate differently. There's more social data in their storytelling than technical data. Still data, and it still matters, just so everybody's clear, but it's the way that they tell stories differently. And there was a moment where I felt more like a counselor and less like a consultant, but the goals were achieved because she needed to get it out of her mind and then actually be asked that question. What are your business goals? What do you want to accomplish out of this? And when you got the answer that wasn't concrete enough, you have to keep asking, because more is not a goal. I want to do more with this. I want more clients. So who doesn't want more clients? I mean, maybe if you're retired, that's awesome, but most people like revenue. But you have to also think about your resources. Like, if you only have so much money or time, which is also money, or money, which is also time, then you can only shuffle around so much, right? And the one thing that I think that I really wish people understood is that you cannot make more time. There's a lot that you can do. There's a lot of advice about outsourcing. And I really think that if your billable rate is $150 an hour and you're doing accounting, you need to be outsourcing that. Okay? You cost yourself as a company, as an agency, too much to be doing $20 an hour work or $15 an hour work or $50 an hour work. You cost yourself too much. You're wasting your time. My friend will call me and say, I'm not going to say it because it's on the internet, but she would say, Bridget, should I do blah, 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 blah? I go, how many hours have you been doing that? And she'll go, 4. Okay, so you just spent $900 on that. Was it worth that? No, I didn't because it wasn't billable time. I go, it wasn't? Oh, why did you even call me? I know. Okay, so you just spent $1,000. Was it worth it? Can you hire somebody to do this for you? Like, you need to think that way. You have resources. Sometimes it's sweat equity. Sometimes it's your time. But your time costs you too, and you need to prioritize how you spend your time, which is why you outsource marketing if you can. But if you can't, you do it in-house, and that's how I started. When I was at Riggins Construction and the economy went down, I was like, we gotta do something, so I just started doing it. So we had the time. They already bought my time, so it didn't matter, right? Because I was an employee. And now I tell people, the only thing that's not sustainable is your time and your health. So you need to think about that and what your resources are and plan so that you can grow, because what you can't scale is time. So you have these generic business goals. You want more customers, more revenue, and more staff. What does that even mean? Because if you just have these, if you have generic goals, then they're not really that achievable and you don't hold yourself accountable to it. So how about like increase the right kind of customers? Like, what kind of customers do you want? So people will ask me, what do you do? And I say, I specialize in business-to-business relationships on Twitter. Well, do you do Instagram for retail? I go, no, I don't. Because that's not what I specialize in. I can refer you. I don't, oh, well, do you build websites? Nope, I can refer you. And then that way you're having the ability to still be a resource, but you're not wasting your time doing things that cost you money. For me, I'm too expensive to myself to be a writer. I write, but I cost myself too much, and so I refer that out. So you want the right kind of customers, the right kind of customers where you make money. You want the things that have a high profit margin that you're going to get enough turnover for. And if you don't understand your job costing to know that, you need to talk to Sam. And then also happiness, because if you don't have happy workers, none of this is going to scale. So you need to be self-aware as a person, self-aware as an organization. One of my kind of goals in life is to get my freelancer friends to stop calling themselves freelancers, even though I kind of do it to myself a little bit. Because if you have clients, you're an agency, right?
Right.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Wake up, people. So marketing goals should support your business goals, right? Does everybody agree with this? Are we all on the same page? Okay, thank you. Because I want to make sure, because, you know, sometimes when you get a bunch of marketing people together, you end up talking about what color is the trees in the forest. And so you're not even, like you have these ethereal conversations that, you know, it's very difficult to talk concrete, and I'm a practical person. So, okay, here is the thing that you guys have as an advantage. How many people in this room have a website? Thank God. Okay, so this is the hardest part in marketing, is to get people to have a website. So you already are publishers. That's your head start. Everybody in this room who has a website is a publisher. And publishing content is how you market in this decade. So I'm going to focus on educating your audience and doing that through content marketing, which is distribution and creation. Creation and distribution, okay? So there's going to be time for questions. If anybody has some specific question, I'm happy to give specific advice. But content marketing, to me, is just that simple. You can make up a fancy definition that nobody understands, so you sound super smart. And maybe the MBA people have a better definition, so sorry if I offended you. Okay, so but like, it doesn't really matter, because in essence, you're creating some kind of content and distributing it somewhere. Because if you, without, these two need each other, right? Have you heard, like, if you talk to a tree in a forest and nobody's there or whatever?
The tree falls in the forest and no one is there. Doesn't make sense.
Okay, well, I talk to the trees. But like if you make a sound, right? In essence, the question is, if a tree falls in a forest, right? The statement or the cliche, does it make a sound? And the answer to the scientist is, of course it makes a sound. There's just no one there to receive the sound because sound is waves. So you need a receiver and a creator, right? We're all together on that, right? Okay, so thank you. Thank you for correcting I am really bad at like mixing metaphors and things like that. So content marketing, we're gonna use words to persuade, educate, and sell. You can use audio and video too, but words. And the reason why I do this is because one of my clients is having a website redesign, and it's gonna look so beautiful, really beautiful. Giant images that scroll and everything like that. And I'm like, where are the words? Oh, well, they said we shouldn't have words on our homepage. Okay, so like, here's the thing. I don't care how beautiful your website is. If it doesn't have 300 words on it, you're doing it wrong. Google wants it. If you want to be found, like the tree falling in the forest, if Google can't find you, you don't exist. I used to say it's like stuff in my garage until I paid 1-800 got drunk to take it away. Because if it's in my garage, it doesn't exist because I don't know it, and I can't find it, and I don't remember it, right? It has to be useful to you. You want people to read about you. You want Google to be able to read, so you need machines to be able to read. You need people's screen readers to be able to read it. Like, pictures that are beautiful make everybody feel good in a meeting to write the $40,000 check to the web developer.
That's it?
I don't know what the rates are right now. I don't build websites. My point is that you need words on your websites.
Get him out of here.
This is payback. This is payback for like 2 or 4 years of harassing Steve. So you can have blog posts, videos, podcasts. In fact, I would say you should have blog posts, videos, and podcasts. So I was at church the other day, and somebody said, "What are you doing these days, Bridget? Blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Yeah, I go to WordCamp Europe, and what's that? WordPress, 30% of the websites. Oh, is that a blog?" And people get offended now, like we're saying, "Oh, WordPress is only a blog." But now I feel like I should say, yeah, it is a blog, loud and proud. You should have a blog. If you don't have a blog on your website, then you're not doing content marketing, because you have to keep publishing. So now you built this thing, now you gotta keep publishing so that Google knows that and your audience knows that you're alive. Yes, ma'am.
Is this a good time to ask questions, or should I wait to the end?
I don't mind either way.
Okay, so as it pertains to blogging, would you say there is a recipe for how much you should be blogging? And as it pertains to the blog post, is there a length that you recommend?
Okay, so that's a good question, actually. So the question is twofold. Is there a preferred frequency or number of words that matters? The generic answer is it depends on your audience, but the minimum answer is 300 words. Okay, so that's why I said short or long. Actually, the best answer is both. I'm a hybrid person. I think, so you should be able to write short things and long things. It depends on the subject. Don't write just to write. It should make a point. Because people don't read, they scan. Nobody reads anymore. So, okay, Leo reads and the rest of us scan. So the thing is, but you want to publish regularly. So if you can only write 12 posts, then it's once a month.
Okay.
If you can only write, once a month, once a week, then write once a week. And it depends on your business goals, right? So when I was working at Give, the first year we were just building up that content. The second year we published 4 times a week.
Wow. Okay.
Very aggressive. The next year we went to WordCamps, went to like 30 WordCamps. So we had the content there that was evergreen, so it continued to serve our audience because the internet has a long memory. I had to look up by Felicia, this this week, and it's from 1995. Yes, Sandy?
Yeah, question, if you went back in the beginning of this, when you come to blogging, okay, it's important to know the audience you want to address, correct?
Yeah, your audience. You should
Yeah,
know
so-
your
so-
audience.
So one of the things, if you go back a little bit, presentation, marketing is, part of marketing is identifying your audience.
So, are you asking a question or correcting me because I'm not talking about personas?
What I'm really doing is trying to plant in everybody's mind that you have to identify
You
your
should
target
definitely
audience.
give a presentation on personas. I specifically left that out, Sandy, because
Okay.
that is an art in and of itself. And I will say, to address this, if you don't know your customers and you're in business, we got bigger problems. You're not even here yet, if you don't know who your customer is.
Exactly.
So I'm presuming that you understand, if we have a triangle, the sums is 180 degrees, or it's not gonna work. That's like, but that is a good topic, and you should talk to Sam about presenting on. So, create and publish on your WordPress site. That's a no-brainer. But you can also cross-post. You can cross-post on Medium. You can cross-post on LinkedIn, right? But originate your content on WordPress. The reason why we love WordPress is because we own our own content. A lot of people who run Twitter chats, for example, are using Storify to do their recaps. Well, guess what? Storify is going to die. They've already announced their death. So, but if you had put those in your website, then that would be content that kept living on the property that you own and the content that you own. So, when you're doing content marketing, you want to be the master of your own fate. Of course, this is all my self-educated opinions, and you guys could be correcting me if you want. Did you have a question, Dennis, or did you want to?
You asked me at triangles.
Okay, well, that's a geometry thing. So, distribution. So you know how to publish, you know how to build a website, you know how to distribute. So now what about distribution? I get this question all the time. What is the right platform for me? And it goes back to what are your business goals, blah, 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 blah. But basically, here's the answer. I would do anything public, front-facing. There's a lot of fads about using. There's a lot of fads in marketing. Marketing is always going to have fads. There's always going to be tech that people are trying. And it depends on what you're doing. And for me, I'm all about business-to-business relationship building. I'm not into creating content that dies. So I use Snapchat with my friends. I do not use Snapchat for my business. But if you have these three, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook in this order, this is how it starts. Remember we talked about resources, what's in your pantry, how much time do you have to spend? This is the way I would do it because Google indexes tweets. I looked up a potential the other day and I found his Twitter was first. His Twitter was first on Google search for his name.
Wow.
Yeah, and then some probation records. So anyway, the internet's your friend. So, but these things are public facing, they're front facing. Now Twitter, I would not have any of this locked down. Facebook page, not profile. So you want to be able to push your content and share your content. Twitter's my favorite for a bunch of reasons, but basically because as a culture, Twitter supports repetition and volume. Whereas if you repeat things on Facebook, people are going to unlike you. The culture of Facebook is post and go. Meaning, I'm here with my friends, selfie, okay, put it on, and then I'm done. I'm not even looking anymore. You know, the whole thing is moving around. Whereas people who are on Twitter are there to read. And you can find this out and verify it for yourselves by using Google Analytics. So back at the advertising agency I was at, we actually had this really great case study that got us more business. That we had built this website because for us, advertising and paid organic content marketing and paid advertising was the way that we, that's what we sold as a product. The website was a tool to do the advertising, right? So the website was not the end of the project. It was just the beginning. So we built a website as a clean URL, totally clean. Nobody knew about it till we built it. And so we had data for the whole year. Then the next year, year two, we added because we phased things in with our marketing goals. We added Twitter, and this was for franchise development. And so we found something really interesting, that the highest time on site was from Twitter, but it wasn't any of the conversions. And the most conversions were for direct. And so by logic, we concluded that people knew the URL and they typed it in because they had already been there. And it goes to reason that since their time on site from Twitter was about 2.5 minutes, that they were reading. So for me, you can use Google Analytics in your website to verify your marketing goals, and you can get as nerdy as you want with the data. But to me, the only thing that matters is time on site, because that means people are reading. And for myself, I like notifications, because that means people are interacting. So the really cool thing that happened is we used that case study with another franchise development client who actually got 4 first-click leads from Twitter. So don't discount it just because you don't understand it. That's my little plug for Twitter. It's not going away. It's been around since for 12 years. Yes, Leo?
Twitter's first profitable quarter was last year, or by the way,
Profit has nothing to do with effectiveness.
I had a question regarding business to consumer beyond business to business, because that's typically what you mostly do.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinions on YouTube, Pinterest, and Tumblr as regards to a bigger, more broader strategy?
I do not have experience with Tumblr, but one time Tumblr was the place that 20-somethings were blogging. I don't like Yahoo. I think they're awkward and behind, so I'm not for that. So I don't know why anybody would do that. But Pinterest has a better search algorithm than Google does. Pinterest is perfect for stores, because if you pin something from a shop, or one of your customers does, it will actually notify them when the price drops, just like Amazon does when you do wish lists. Pinterest analytics are like off the roof. I don't do Pinterest, I refer it out, but my best friend does, so she tells me all this nerdy stuff and then she goes to their offices. Pinterest is bomb for anything visual. Anything that has a store that looks even remotely beautiful, you should be on Pinterest, for sure. And YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. You should be doing video. And I wouldn't, that's why I don't go with the Instagram stories. And I mean, if you want to do a lot as extra, it's like if you eat your meat and vegetables, then you can have dessert. This is the meat and vegetables. If you have time after this, then do Snapchat, then do Instagram stories, then do things that disappear. And I think for me, if I was working with retail, I'd be using Snapchat for coupons that disappear. That stuff like that, time sensitive things. But again, it doesn't live long except for on screenshots, so watch out when you're sexting. So after that, then what are you gonna do? You're gonna engage. And this is the part everybody forgets. And it's taken me, I don't know, 20 minutes to get this far, because I want us all to be on the same page. If you don't engage with your audience, you may as well not do any of it.
What does that mean, engage? What should I do?
I am going to tell you. I just want that, like, I want to be the mom that says, go to your room and think about what I've said to you. That this is huge.
My site's all about weddings. We're all about engaged.
You're about after they engage. That's funny though. Good job. Okay, so you have to feel the weight of the responsibility of your audience. There are so many people that do this wrong. I just want that emphasized in your brain. Engage, engage, engage. Okay, so that's where the magic happens. Oh, it's my favorite gift. It's my favorite gift. Magic. Because if I've been saying this for so many years, it's so easy to press a button. Press retweet, press like, press a heart, double tap on Instagram picture. It means nothing. I mean, how many of you guys have time to go, oh look, Mike Nussbaum liked my picture? You know, nobody's looking at that. Nobody has time for that. You're moving on. Oh, somebody made a comment. Now I'm paying attention, right? Just liking something is not enough. So you as a business have to engage in the public sphere. Just as you know that we say you should be attending meetups and networking events and chambers and having your card and interacting with the public and sponsoring WordCamps. I think there's 1 gold left and stuff like that, right? It means, this is the definition. This is your answer, Sam. Follow people back. Follow people back. If you can't deal with the feed, your problem is you don't know how to use Twitter. You need to use lists. You can look it up on bridgetwillard.com/Twitter lists. It's the most underused tool on Twitter because you can't grow. Twitter will cap you out at 2,000, 5,000, 9,000, 14,000, and 19,000. You will not be able to follow anybody else. You will not be able to grow. Until they get rid of the ridiculous 1-to-1 ratio, or if you get to be blessed with the verification check mark, and you don't have to be social, you know, but this also applies to Facebook pages. So part-time I work for a travel agency, and then she'll give me a stack of business cards that this person and that person and that person came in. So I go to their website, and I go look at their Instagram, because they only use Instagram and Facebook, and I like their page as the page, and I comment on something that they wrote. More than 3 words, because Instagram is now doing a Facebook thing, where you have to have more than 3 words on Instagram in order for it to be considered a comment. You can't just say, awesome. So, and then when people do comment, you should respond to them. Because it'd be like somebody filling out the form on your website, saying they're interested in your services, and you never replying to that, which is business suicide. Because I'm going to tell you, like, I can love a brand so hard, and then if they start ignoring me, I'm out. I'm out. I'll drink another tequila. I don't care. I don't need them. It's fine. There's plenty of good tequilas. So being a polite person always elevates your brand. I always say to err on the side of being polite. If you want to yell and scream and be mad, that's what your girlfriends are for. Call people up on a friend, you know, like go, oh, I can't believe this person. Don't client shame on Twitter. Don't air your dirty laundry on Facebook. Like, just be super polite, even if they're like really mad at you. Always apologize. Like, be that person, you know, that has the empathy. Yes?
I'm sorry, I have another question.
No, this is awesome. I like questions.
Would you recommend then that if you are a business owner, and you made a very important distinction, I think, the difference between Facebook and a Facebook page, which I'm embarrassed to tell you, I don't know the difference, I just have a Facebook account. But I assume then that you would not then invite people who are your clients and or customers to be on your Facebook, right? Because that's more of like a personal thing.
On your personal page.
Okay, so there's a profile and a page.
Okay.
A profile is a person,
Yes.
a real person. It cannot be a business, a religious institution, or an event.
Or a
It's
fake
against
person.
or a dog, or a cat, or
Okay.
it's against the terms of service. So, and there's a Facebook page. And the advantage of being a page is the ability to advertise, have insights, analytics, blah, 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 all that.
Okay.
Okay, so people are saying like, oh, nobody sees stuff on Facebook pages, blah, 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 blah. Look, if you do the things that I said, if you like other people, if you engage, you will get the traffic because Facebook rewards that engagement with boosting your visibility in the feed. And then you can pulse it with some sponsored posts. So anyway, that's like a Facebook page strategy. As a business, you should have a page, even if you only want to kind of reserve the name or whatever, because it is searchable
Okay.
They're indexed by Google. But it's up to you if you want to invite clients to be your friends on Facebook.
Okay.
Now for me, I've always been kind of a public facing person.
Mm-hmm.
So with friend requests, I'm pretty, unless it's like a widow, because I get those now,
Mm-hmm.
you're pretty much in. If you're a WordPress person, like
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
Because I'm on the marketing team, I know people all over the world. But if you want to lock it down. It's up to you.
Okay. But you would suggest, obviously, like you were talking about, this element of kind of not maybe sharing so much of your personal life. You would generally probably recommend more focusing on a page rather than having a lot of people on your personal.
It depends how comfortable you are with sharing that information.
I see.
Like with Jen Miller, her strategy is to be public.
I see.
So everything on her profile is public for that reason, because she wants her clients to see her as an accessible person.
I see.
That is part of her business goals and her marketing goals.
I see.
So it's all about aligning your goals with yourself. And this is the authenticity, right?
Right.
So I am me with you sitting there, I'm me with
Sure.
I'm me on Twitter, and I'm me on Facebook.
Right.
I'm
So-
the same me.
So I am not. Like, I would not be my same me.
Right, and then for
But
me,
that's a personal goal.
right, no, but that's great. So
Right.
it's about being self-aware enough to know I should be censoring myself. Let's lock this bad boy down.
Okay, thank you, that's super helpful.
Question, so I'm not that familiar with the Facebook page, so where would be the best place to learn about it quickly and make sure that I observe the rules of that?
Observe the rules of a Facebook page?
Facebook rules in terms of setting up a page, so I wasn't doing something that would go against their rules.
Pages don't have that many rules, but profiles do. Profiles have to be real
Is there
people.
a good place to go, an article, or reference that you would recommend?
I would look up Facebook profile terms of service.
Okay, but that's,
Here's the quickest way, Sandy, because you don't like my answer. You have to be a real person. That's the rule.
okay, but if I
And
have.
when people try to use fake names, you have to show your license to get your account back up.
Sure, so if I have a Facebook business page,
That's a page, that's not a
if
profile.
I said page.
Yeah, you can have a page, you can have it called whatever you want.
Okay, are there limitations about what I put on that page and who uses it?
Are there limitations? I'm not sure you can put hate crime stuff on there.
I don't think I'm talking about business, I don't give a crap
No.
about that stuff.
No, there
Hate
isn't.
speech.
There isn't. Or speech,
I mean, can I
yeah.
advertise on that page? You know, what are the business
I love you
restrictions?
so much, Sandy. But yes, you can advertise on a Facebook page. And I do have a blog on BridgetWillard.com on how to set up a Facebook page.
There you go.
Be polite. So even though you're irritating me, did you notice how polite I was to you? Saying, I love you, Sandy. Let's send you to this blog post. And I'm gonna click the next slide.
And I
here.
love that, that was the answer.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just be that. Okay, now, this is my favorite part. Real questions. I don't know what time it is. Like, when did I start? How much time is left?
You're fine.
Huh?
You're good.
Oh, okay. Because I want real questions. I don't like theory. I'm a practical person. Leo had his hand up first.
I had a softball question about engagement and being polite. So, and I wanted to respond to you, but this is a softball question. It's an easy one. So, if I'm a public page that people can find and my interactions are also public, does that mean if I say something impolite on someone's profile or maybe another competitor or something, that's also public as well? I.e., if I go to my competitor...
When you're saying public, is it searchable? It could be searchable. I definitely would not engage with your competitor. People do this crap on Yelp. It's so bad. It's just sleazy. You know, this is where, now you're in like ethics territory, right? So, do you want to, I always say, I want to wake up and live with myself in the morning. You know, like, can I look at myself in the mirror and live with myself? You know, is that fine? Like Scott Stratton would say, anything that you would put in public, would you want it on a billboard with your picture next to it and your mom sees it on the way to Vegas?
That's
that's a fine line though, because you might not be the best judge of what, what's good and what's bad in public.
A lot of
So-
people aren't because they're not self-aware.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
The
So-
key is
so-
being self-aware, so that's why I say be
Or-
aggressively polite.
Or find a sounding board that you can find somebody that you can pass it by and just make sure you,
Yeah.
if you're not naturally self-aware.
This is also why you outsource marketing to somebody who knows what they're doing. Because, and we talked about this earlier with Sandy saying, excuse me, with Sandy saying that you should know your audience. A lot of people don't. Because, self-awareness is very technical. It's like, we are tech people. You do a lot of thinking, you know who you are and what you like and what you don't. The problem I see with a lot of my friends in the WordPress industry, for example, is they think that they are their own audience. And I can tell you, and you can tell me the answer to this, that you're not. Otherwise you would have almost no support tickets. Like say if you're a plugin. If your audience was as smart as you, you wouldn't really have support tickets, would you? Unless you build a crap product, right? So you could gauge that. A lot of people assume because you're so immersed in your product or your service, you're not even aware that you're using jargon. This happens a lot with Twitter bios. Like, I'll look at somebody's Twitter bio and it says something, I'm like, wait, what does that even mean? Does your grandma know what this means, Steve?
But also, in
you supposed to-
addition to that, tech people tend to think very linearly, right? So if something, a human interaction, for instance, falls outside of that linear, they get this sort of tunnel vision, right? So once it falls outside of that, they get confused.
Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of that's why there's UX, UI people. For me, marketing is about human behavior and understanding. For example, if somebody comes to your website and asks the same question over and over and over again, then either you haven't answered that question in your documentation, which first of all, I have a whole platform about that word. But that's another lecture. Yeah, because when I started working for a plugin company, I had no idea what the word meant. When I go to IKEA, they don't give me documentation. What do they give you when you go to IKEA?
Instructions.
Thank you. Good God. Like it's like I was looking for the instructions. I couldn't find them.
Documentation contains instructions. It's more nuanced.
Yeah, but
you know what,
so good.
that brings up a really good point. What Bridget goes back to exactly what
You're
Bridget
not your
was saying,
audience.
is that is not the audience,
Right.
right? When you think about a majority of people who are utilizing your content, you're the technologist, you're the expert. But I, on the other hand, and I talk about this a lot in this meetup, is the difference between who you are and who your client is.
Right.
I'm hiring you as an expert because I am not the expert. So I need someone to translate the language to me. Often, in the years that Steve and I have been together, he will say an entire diatribe about things. I have no idea what he's talking about.
That never happens.
That happens all the time. Explain to me, what does this mean? I don't understand it. So I completely understand what Bridget's saying. I mean, I happen to know documentation because I'm a process expert, but truly the reality of it is the word instructions speaks a lot more to your audience members than documentation probably ever would.
So I haven't derailed myself, Leo. I'm just not, it's not really that soft of a question. So when it comes to words that are written, tonality is a thing, right? So just if you say they say blah, 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 go, well, you should look it up on the website first. So pick a finger, there's 10 to choose from, you have a 20% chance of picking the right one, right? Or you can say, oh, that's a really great question, Sally. We wrote an article about it right here.
Call instructions on getting started. Like literally should be in said documentation, it should be spelled out. It can be both, it doesn't have to be one or the other.
No, right, but what I'm saying is the way you word it matters. Because there's even a track ticket right now for a reminder notice that goes in the admin about upgrading your PHP to 7.2 plus, where they said, good luck. And they're like, that is really sarcastic. And I'm like, I thought it was friendly. I didn't write it, but I was like, fine. But I hear people go, good luck. And they're hearing people go, yeah, good luck. Right? Because you don't have that in written language. You have no tonality. With communication, you know, you have body language, right? You have inflection. You have your face. That's like over 70% of communication. Now you just have words and they're stripped out, and all you have is the other person's vision of how they're perceiving it, right? So that's why I say be as polite as you can. Think of Sunday dinners with grandma. She made the grossest pot roast ever, and you're eating it and saying, "This is awesome, Grammy. Thank you so much for making this. I love Sunday dinners." Aggressively polite for that reason, because the tonality matters, and your competitors will stomp on you if you are like super sarcastic, which we are gifted for as a culture, and I mean WordPress. Just stop yourself. Just stop, drop, and roll. Sandy.
Turns out the easiest way to get business, people refer to you. And if you are sarcastic and nasty to somebody on their website, they will never recommend anybody to you. And you have to be completely aware of the fact that you can disagree, but you have to disagree politely, intelligently, and you don't get into personal fights.
Yeah.
Okay? And because that's losers do that. Okay?
Well, that's why I'm against client shaming. And because I use lists on Twitter, I follow everybody back, then I have a list of WordPress professionals. So in my Hootsuite, I have a whole list of, will it still mirror if I get out of this thing? I'll just show you. So I have a whole list, and I read. I know what you guys are saying, because I approach marketing like a sociologist. And I sit there and I read everything they're saying. If you're doing marketing right, you're doing reading more than anything else. You know, don't react, respond, that kind of thing. So, oh man, this made this super tiny. Nobody can read that. I can't even read that. Come on, Zeke 5K internet. Okay, you can't. Oops,
Hey,
that's a little too.
It was pretty fast to me.
Hey, don't
That was
Wi-Fi shame me.
That was sarcastic.
I know it was. Good
That's
job.
a Wi-Fi safe space.
Good job, Steve. What now? What am I doing wrong? Oh, I had 300%. This isn't the same on my computer as it is on the monitor. That's annoying. Okay, so WordPress peeps. See this line right here? This is a list. So I'm just looking at all the stuff that WordPress people say. You know. It's so good. I was in tears on the edge of the couch from one episode, whatever they're talking about. So you know what TV shows people are watching, and I see these tweets, you know, about, oh, this client is so stupid, they don't even know what documentation is. You know, because you forget this is indexable. And then some of us have our tweets on the side of our website. So just don't do it. The most polite you can ever be. Be super, 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 super polite. Does that?
The real question I wanted you, or the answer I thought you were going to go to, was hey, make sure you don't political organizations or religious pages, because that's indexable, but as a relationship.
It depends on what your business is.
I really enjoyed our conversation because it went a completely different direction. I think it was very
Well,
useful.
here's the thing. I was in politics for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I was doing. I was helping political candidates with their social media. And I decided I'm not going to base my career on somebody who will lose. Or win, but then lose. I'm just not going to do it. But if that's what you're doing, then you have to serve that demographic.
Yeah.
But you definitely, so I feel like in WordPress I'm the minority because I'm a straight, white, Christian, Republican woman who's not a developer. Everything about me is a minority in WordPress. So I read what everybody says. That's what made me feel that way. And a lot of times I feel like, you know, there's about 5 Republicans in the WordPress community. You guys should be a little nicer to us, you know. It's fine that you don't agree, but can we be intellectually inclusive, you know? there's a lot of inclusivity. We talk a lot about inclusivity until you're part of the minority, and then you feel it because you read how the people talk.
So Bridget, let me ask you a question about that comment, because that's an interesting comment. And I just want to hone in on kind of your thought there. So you feel, for whatever reasons, you have felt that while reading, let's say, this list thing, which is very interesting, I've never seen that before, but it's very interesting because obviously it separates out. So you're kind of reading through people's comments. The question there that I beg to answer from you is, do you believe that people's tweets, let's just say on the WordPress peeps group, should they be inclusive of you because you're an audience member, just on the comment you made, or are you suggesting that just in general, are you making a general statement about WordPress, or are you saying that part of someone's desire to communicate out should therefore be more inclusive of their ultimate audience? I just want to understand that.
I love you so much. This is a great question because you're bringing up something that psychologists call cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I'm bringing up.
You are. I love you even more now than I did before. Because this is basically cognitive dissonance is when what you say doesn't align with your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And in WordPress, we say that we're inclusive. But with our behavior, we don't always behave inclusively. I actually had a hard time at US 2 years ago because there was a lot of rhetoric that made me feel embarrassed, and I realized that I became a closeted Republican, and that's what I called it, and I called it that on purpose. Because I felt ashamed to be a Republican. And I think that if I had said some of the things from the other perspective, that it would have been not accepted. But when you're the majority, it's easy to say things. So I think that's the other thing is like, I'm not gonna go with a client. I would not hire somebody who is that mean, because some of the things people say are really mean. And this isn't like against WordPress in general, but this is who we are. I was in construction, I saw the same thing, in different ways though. But this is, I'm talking to us, our audience. So like, WordPress people say that we're inclusive and that we believe in community, but believing in community means that you build other people up regardless of your inclinations. Whether it's about sexual orientation or religion or creed or political affiliation, we're supposed to accept people, and you can't accept people and be angry. It doesn't mean you don't disagree. I have plenty of friends that I don't agree with, but we're normal people and we can eat together and nobody hates anybody, right? But that's just one example. You're saying something publicly as yourself, representing your company, as an agency, that could turn off clients. Now, that could also be a positive. If you only want to work with these people and you want your agenda and your belief system to be part of your business goals and your marketing goals, then I say do it. Who cares? I'm part of the minority. It doesn't matter. Nobody's crying in the corner. I'm just saying, like, you've got to think about the way marketing is about perception. You have to think about, it's about understanding empathy and thinking about how people are in the other shoes. We talk about this with accessibility. In the construction industry, it's ADA things, more physical. And one of the architects that I really like, Bob Borson, did the wheelchair for a day thing for the AIA in Houston or someplace. But like, you just, because the exercise was to see like, how does it feel to be in a wheelchair? Is there a 60-inch turnaround in the restroom stall? Can I actually get to the sink, or is it above 32 inches? Those kinds of things. So the thing is, having empathy, if you don't understand yourself, you're never going to understand your audience. And that's why I say marketing is more sociology and more technical and more intuition. I wish I could remember this quote, but there was a quote from the Sherlock series where Watson asks him something. He goes, "Why are you using intuition? You're always about data." And he said, "Intuition is your brain absorbing so much data at once that you can't even process it." I think that we should trust our intuition, but our intuition is a muscle and a tool that has to be honed. right?
That
So
would be
the-
an amazing talk, is the sociological elements of marketing. You should really consider that. You'd be excellent at doing that.
I think it should be like
Very interesting.
about being deliberate, right? Because that's the whole.
It is. It's about being intentional, but you can't be intentional without being self-aware. That's why my friends call me the Jane Goodall of Twitter. But so you've got to study your audience, and that's why I believe
I
it's.
think it's more anthropology. It's about participant observation because
Well,
you're in
either
the
way,
space.
well, anthropology, the people are dead. Like we're
No,
still
no, people are
alive.
living.
We're
I
still
studied
alive.
anthropology in school. But
Okay.
You have to-
Real
you
dwelling.
have to-
Do you
you have
have
to-
any specific questions about your business that you're dying to ask? Jamal.
Well, you said marketing is perception.
Yes.
Why did you name your company your name, but not you to be a guru or something?
Oh, you too can be a guru. So
But that's
I don't-
not how you put yourself out.
Okay, so so I'm sassy, and everybody knows I'm a little sarcastic. That's part of my branding, right? I know. So hold back the shock. Hold back the shock. So people were saying, "Oh, I'm a marketing guru. I'm a marketing guru." And so one day I tweeted, "If I'm going to have a business, I'm going to say you too could be a guru because anybody could do this." Because I didn't think it was that hard, and my passion really is to teach people to do social media. And I've been doing that for 10 years with my friends or whatever. So then when people kept asking me these marketing questions over and over and over again while I was at Riggins Construction, I was like, this doesn't belong on their Twitter channel. These questions don't belong here. It's not appropriate for the venue. So I said, oh, I'll just do you two can be a guru. But A made it too long, so you two can be guru. And then I made myself a tagline, you too can be a guru, you know, so then you don't have to do copyright, you write your own music, whatever. And it just became this joke because it was just a hobby. Because out of my laziness, Jamal, if I'm gonna answer one question for one person, I'm answering for the whole world. Then I could just tell Sandy, go to this blog post because I already wrote it, right? So, but Bridget Willard, people know me as Bridget Willard. So BridgetWillard.com for a long time was a porn site. And I couldn't get that domain. It's just the truth. And so I had you too can be a guru.wordpress.com because I started on WordPress.com. And so then it became available in 2015 and I built it. I don't know, I have some other ideas. I don't know what I'm going to do. And if I get married, do I keep that name? Like everything is up in flux right now. But you too could be a guru, that's why I chose it, because it was a joke. And then people thought it was funny and they remembered it, so therefore that's it.
So you suggest to have a brand name other than your own name to start
Here's
with?
the thing. There's two schools of thought of it. A lot of people don't want to use their name because they want to look like they're bigger than they are. But I say people know you. Like when you gave your talk at Women in WP, if you could get the handles the same everywhere, do it. I waited too long. My handles are all over the place. But if you can get that, if they know you, and that's the person who you are, and that's what you keep saying, then that's easier. So it all goes back to like how comfortable you are sharing yourself, or how much of yourself are you willing to share? Because frankly, people are too two-dimensional in online. They only talk about their business or maybe one other thing, right? So if you are a dog person, talk about your dogs. If you play golf, talk about that. If you play poker, talk about that. Whatever that it is that you're comfortable with, share that, because we are human beings, and like Sandy said, we refer business to each other. We refer business to people we like. We refer business to our friends. Steve doesn't have clients, he has friends. He's told us that like, I don't know, 100 times. Because it works. And that's how business has been done since the beginning of time. And that's why social media works when you actually behave like a polite human being
Trust.
instead of a jerk.
Trust.
Trust comes from, it's a time-based thing. So here's the thing, Sandy. You go through bankruptcy, then one credit card says you can have $500. You keep paying that off, then another one says you can have 25. Then you keep paying that off, then you get 45. You have to earn it, but somebody has to give it to you too. So it's every relationship, no matter what, it's a friendship, clients, marriage, your family, somebody has to give that first step of trust. And it's a risk. Everything's always a risk, and it's going to take you time, and you might say something wrong, but you might not. To me, the biggest problem that I face when I educate people about social media is fear. Fear of being, especially in our demographic with coders, there's that level of perfectionism that's paralyzing. And they don't do anything. But this is fun. Just do it. Just try it. It's fun. Just try it for 2 weeks. Like, the only thing you're gonna, like, I say 5 minutes a day. That's always my double dog dare. 5 minutes a day in the morning, 5 minutes a day after lunch. If you want a double dog dare, just try it. Because if you don't have that many followers or likes or fans or posts, you're not gonna have that much to engage with. It really doesn't take that much time. I actually have a video on YouTube, Sandy, that shows you how you can do Facebook in 5 minutes a day. Or Twitter, I mean. It's really not that hard. Twitter is it's so non-committal at the same time. It's a 40 seconds, and oh, I have time. Oh, okay, my doctor will see me, I'm done. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not this, you're not in the middle of a book. It's just Twitter. It's not that big of a deal. Yes?
Do you use Hootsuite to post to all the different
Nope.
platforms?
Nope.
Just Twitter?
I am a purist of the pure. I only do this for when I want to do my lists. I can't even deal. I'm a native girl, 100% native.
Well, you're talking about cross-posting, so do you?
I don't cross-post.
Okay.
I do not believe in automation. I believe in scheduling. Scheduling is crafted, it's intentional. Automation's a robot and asking for mistakes.
But you can schedule with Hootsuite.
I schedule with a competitor buffer. You can schedule with Hootsuite. I have done it with, but I do not believe in cross-posting simultaneously. Every platform has a culture. You don't book YouTube for Starbucks. You book them for the Rose Bowl. You have to respect the culture of the platform, or you're going to lose people because it's sociology or anthropology or whatever you want to call it. It's all human behavior based, right? But you're not going to get, you know, family times that plays at Hennessy's to go fill up the Rose Bowl. Nobody, who knows family times?
If they had an incredible viral campaign, maybe.
Maybe. I seriously doubt it. Like, you can't even fill that up for a UCLA game. Okay, so anyway, any more questions? Because I feel like we're almost, I don't know what time it is, 8:12. Yes, sir.
So this is maybe a little more basic, but suppose you don't have a very big audience. What would the steps be that you would take to start building that audience?
Do you want to give me more information so I can give you a better answer?
Well, suppose you're just starting out creating a blog, starting a few blog posts. How would you go about building the audience for that?
I would start with Twitter.
Okay.
What's your market? What's your product?
Well, I'm a developer.
You're a developer. So you're going to blog about development?
I'm going to blog about things that people would buy my services with.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So it's
Say that again.
B2B.
I missed that. You
okay,
don't-
so, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, sir.
I'm Tom.
Tom is asking, how would you build your audience if you're a developer who's going to blog about your services? So you're a service-based industry that's going to start doing content marketing and you want to build your followers.
What are
Right.
your
Now,
services?
so there's a lot of things you could do, because I didn't talk about inbound marketing. You could do MailChimp, whatever. You could do all that stuff. You could capture emails. That's not what I would do. I'm going to tell you what I would do. It's in my list. Twitter first. Because it goes back to the tree. If the tree falls and there's nobody there, nobody saw it, nobody took a picture of it, nobody posted it on Instagram, okay? So the thing is that you have to build your audience, or nobody gives a crap what's on your website. But also, you have to have stuff on your website or you're never gonna get an audience. So which came first, chicken or the egg? Like, that's from Sesame Street, right? We know that, and it's like, you don't know, but you have to do both, and you have to do both simultaneously. Because you have to have infrastructure. The Romans built roads, and then they conquered Europe. You have to have the roads, because you have to be able to distribute, right? This isn't about social media, it's about human behavior, Tom. If you cannot get your product to the people, and you don't have people who want it, it's not gonna work. So you need the reason why, that's why I believe in following everybody back.
So your answer is start with Twitter.
Start with Twitter. It's public facing. Share your content. Interact with people. Follow them back. I'm a list builder person. If you go to bridgetwillard.com/Twitter list, I recommend having 3 audiences and interacting with them. And I do this with this is how I do it. And then you spend a couple minutes, you see who you are. Oh, that's awesome. I like that show too.
What are you talking about when you say a list builder? Are there
A
different
list.
lists in Twitter?
Yes. So, okay, sorry.
See that?
Sorry, okay. This is the part of Twitter that people don't really pay attention to. That's the most powerful part of Twitter. Okay, so you guys are developers, and the best part of a database is the ability to filter and sort data, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, thank you. So Twitter has this ability to create lists, and lists sort tweets into categories. So for example, WordPress companies right here, I have 28 people on this list. So if you follow somebody, and then you can see the members, but you can just see the tweets of the people in this list. And then I can say, okay, well, WordPress companies are my primary demographic, so I'm just going to spend a couple minutes here and find something that I want to respond to. Oh, how much can I charge as a freelancer? Ask yourself these 3 questions. I could go, Carrie is so awesome. Great share.
More than 3 words.
I
More
want
than
to
3
make a comment
words.
about lists really quick. Be careful what you name your list.
Oh yeah.
So when Bridget adds me to a list, I get a notification that I'm on this list. So if she says, you know,
Knuckleheads.
if she names her list assholes, right? I'm gonna get a notification Steve would just added the list.
And that
Bridget's
may be a
list called
purpose.
assholes. Well, I'd appreciate that.
No, because, okay, so thank you for bringing that up. There are 2 types of lists. There's public and private.
Yes.
Now you can have a private list called assholes, but beware. Because if you at some point, on purpose or accidentally, make that public, notifications!
Is that true of Facebook too? Because I have a list called batshit crazy.
I do not know about Facebook.
I really do.
I don't.
It's not for Facebook.
But here's the thing, you guys, listen to me.
I don't want people knowing that I put them on the list.
Okay, here's the thing. This is my personal theory, based upon my experience with about 15 clients. There's no data to show you. But in my experience, when I create lists that are keyword generic telephone page type categories, it helps me get found and followed by those same people.
Yes. Make them
So
public.
when they're public.
Make them public.
So I don't make them some weird name. Like, I make them something that means something
Yeah.
to people. Because if you make them a weird name, it's not going to help you get suggested.
And it's actually it's an ego. You're stroking the ego of the person you add to the list because
You
they
can-
get that notification that we just added to your list. WordPress gurus. Oh,
We did
oh,
that at
sweet.
WordPress. We called a list Rising Stars.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep, and we did it for that exact reason. And it was also that it served my purpose because what it ends up doing is, I said, okay, Matt, what I want you to do is do me a favor. I want you to put anybody that you really like that's going to help me, because I don't code and I don't know who's full of crap, right? So I'm tweeting for this company, and I didn't know at the time. So I said, put these on this list. It's basically like whitelisting their accounts. For me, they get the ego pat, and I know what I can share that will be approved by the peoples.
Yep.
So you're filtering out things for listening, for engaging. I mean, I have a whole blog post about it, but it's the best way to use your time. It's really the best way to use your time. And then I use this as a way to curate content to share on Facebook and LinkedIn. And that's why I started all of Twitter, because then I have all my personas there. I have personas.
If
Just
you
not
want to make
talking
a list of assholes, call it people I admire.
Exactly.
Well, I see that there are 317 blah blah. So where is the other 10,000 that you follow?
Okay, so I've been doing this account since 2011. And like Orange County is at 451 people.
But you have 10,000 plus followers. I mean, you are following 10,000 plus.
Well, you used to only be able to have 20 lists, now you can have almost 100 or something infinite, basically. And so I follow everybody back that isn't selling followers or porn. And I put about 70% of the people on a list.
How much business do you get from that? How long does it take from the time you follow somebody to start getting on the list? Do you result in getting a client?
The list isn't about getting a client.
What's it about?
The list is a tool for you to save time. Twitter is a long
No, I meant,
game.
I don't mean the list, I meant.
Twitter is a long game.
Using Twitter.
It's absolutely a long game.
Okay,
But
what do you use to shorten the time it takes to get a client?
The phone.
But how do you know who to
It
call?
depends. It depends because, and I know that's your favorite answer, but some people don't like to be called. I don't like to be called. You call me, I'm thinking you're trying to talk me into something, and I'm not going to let you do that to me.
No, that's not.
I know, but what I'm saying is like, Twitter is a referral. Okay, here's my experience. I've been doing this 10 years. Okay, putting my sweat equity in. That's how I got the last job I had. And then when that job didn't work out, let's see, we're 5 months into Bridget Willard being an agency / freelancer / whatever. I have half the clients I need, and they all came from Twitter. So they're there when I needed them, right? And I've referred away work a long time because I didn't want to do side work. I didn't want to do side work. But this is the reason why I have been able to pay my rent for 5 months. So yeah, it's a long game, but like I said earlier, for one of our clients, we got 4 first-click leads in 1 month. So it can be that fast if you do it right. And
But
if
it also sounds like, Bridget, that you've spent a lot of time cultivating these relationships. It doesn't sound like, I think
it's a long game.
Right, what people missed was this idea of longing. One of the things that Steve taught me when I first met him, I've been very poor with any kind of networking or any of those kinds of things. But he really showed me the value of networking, right? And this is just the next phase of that evolution, right? Because people are utilizing social media as a foundation for their own networking.
What's the cost of sale, the time it takes to close on somebody, okay? Because she was talking earlier, rightfully so, about your time is money. So if you had a way, okay, of spending an hour, and based upon that 1 hour, being able to generate sales that close within a week, okay? That might be a more effective way of getting business than take this.
Which
really
is
nice
why
thing.
you would outsource that to somebody whose time is less expensive than yours. But Clear Channel has no problem selling billboards, and you can't attribute that at all. You're paying for impressions. You're paying for eyeballs, and eyeballs matter because Twitter is a branding platform and a relationship platform and a PR platform and...
Who do you outsource your stuff to?
I don't outsource.
I mean,
I am the outsource.
no, what I
I'm the
meant is
recipient
that
of outsourcing.
do you have a client or somebody that needs somebody to do the writing for them? Who do you outsource it to?
I don't outsource, I
To her?
refer.
Why, of course, refer.
That's
Who
not
do
the
you-
same as
No, you're absolutely
outsourcing.
correct. Who do you refer to?
Jen Miller at jenblogsforyou.com.
So you refer the writing to,
Yeah.
okay. And what other, how about SEO work? Who do you refer that to?
Writing is SEO work.
It's not completely SEO work.
It is with jenmiller.com. That's
Okay.
why I refer to her.
Okay, fine. And and you get work referred to you, right?
Yeah.
So that is
She's
the
actually
best.
one of my clients.
That is the best,
Right.
because as soon as.
Do you know
she
where I
sells-
met her, Sandy?
Through Twitter,
I met her on Twitter.
of course. Okay. But-
And SMMOC, and
Yeah.
she's my best friend.
Correct.
So-
Where could you meet 10 people like her, immediately meet them, rather than going through 6 months on Twitter?
But Twitter is where she is.
Well, she must be someplace else.
Yeah, she comes to this meeting sometimes.
Okay, that's a great place to meet.
But
Right.
if they're not at the meetup, and for a long time she didn't come to the meetup.
Is there other things she goes to? What I'm trying to get at.
You're being very
Well,
antagonistic. I'm not really sure.
No,
Just
I'm
ask
not-
your real
no,
question.
I'm from New Jersey, that's why.
Oh, okay.
I love you. Don't put this. What I'm trying to
You're
get at.
killing me, Larry.
No, what I'm trying to get at is that there's more efficient ways to find the people to partner with. So that's how.
Of course,
yeah.
and that should be a
Yeah.
presentation that you give on another night. Leo, one more question and then we gotta wrap it up, right?
Well, I just want to make a comment on this. So, like, I think there's something very valuable here that, like, Twitter serves as a very powerful inbound tool, right? Where what it sounds like you're after is, you know, pipeline management and trying to push people through the funnel, which is a very important part of it. But what you do really isn't really possible unless you do what she does.
They
And, like,
all work together.
They all work together.
That's right.
And, like, ideally, you've got in this system, this workflow, you know, some way to get people into a CRM, and you're managing leads that way, and there's a different team altogether. Ideally, working as closely as possible. As social media marketing is working directly with the same business goals.
With sales.
Here-
Yes, sir.
And here's the thing, if I meet somebody at a networking event, right, and I give my business card, they're gonna go look me up on Google. Right, and they're gonna look at what my reputation looks like, right? That's where this matters.
Validation, discovery.
Absolutely. Social proof.
And if you don't exist, you know.
Exactly.
You don't exist.
Exactly.
Then I said this like 10 years ago, but Twitter is the new www. It doesn't matter. Like, if you don't have a link here, you don't exist. You know, people are going to look you up. And that's what we found out in franchise development even. And that is even more boring than commercial construction, which I did and brought in business. And I was very successful at that. I just don't believe that you can, I think data, I'm always like controversial, so I might just say this. I think people hide behind data to not do, yes, sir. Yeah, you gotta do the work.
Yeah.
You can't just sit there watching it boil.
Before you end, I was gonna say something, to answer what Tom was talking about earlier, right? And something I said the other night at the Shopify meetup is, I gave the analogy of a real estate agent, right? When I advise real estate agents on how to market themselves, you wanna talk about anything but the listing, right? The last thing you wanna talk about is your listings, because everybody's got the same listings. The successful real estate agents will make themselves experts in a particular neighborhood
Right.
or community. And you can use that analogy in any business, because you can make yourself the expert in your community or your stuff, whatever your stuff is, and talk about anything else but selling, then that's effective here. The last thing you want to do on Twitter or LinkedIn or any of these, even in your blog, is sell.
It has to be so soft of a sell that it's like marshmallows. That's why I said it's education. It's education, and your content should be educating.
Well, I think also, Bridget, what I got from your talk tonight is the element of authenticity, right? When you had said that you do not, and I'm sorry if I don't use the word correctly, but when you had said you don't kind of like cross-pollinate, you don't like post something that goes to everything, right? I thought that was very unique, because what you're really saying is when you're making a choice as to your platform, you're tailoring your message to that platform, to that culture, to that audience. And there's an authenticity in that, and an element of really delving into what that is and what you want to portray. And I don't think people, at least certainly I don't think I've ever really thought of social media in that way, that element of authenticity. You know, now I don't use social media really that much for my business, but I do the like, okay, I want to post a picture of Steve and I or our kids, and I do Instagram. I move all the buttons, you know, Facebook, because I'm not going to do it more than once, you know. But there is a different audience. And now
Right.
that I think about that, the people that I have on my Instagram are different than my very unique
Right.
Facebook group. And I only am very, very tight about the people I have on Facebook. So maybe that's what I need to do. Is
I
more-
view it as hospitality, because you're caring more about your audience than yourself. So, for example, like I post, I have a blog post video about the Mandrell sisters. The Barbara Mandrell show was so cool. They all wore similar outfits, but they weren't the same. Each dress or outfit was for the personality of the sisters, but they all went together. So they were coordinated. They weren't matched like bridesmaids, right? So it's about caring about your audience. So it's that hospitality. So this girl has really good shoulders. She gets the one without shoulders, but the other one has like, so anyway, so it's all tailored to her body. So the thing is that you're tailoring it to the audience and you're caring about them. So what I do is, if I'm somewhere and I'm going to take a couple pictures, I take a couple different pictures. And like, this one's going on Twitter, this one's going on Facebook tomorrow. This one is going on Instagram now. And so I like go Instagram, because I view Instagram as the DVD extras. This is what happened. It's like the background, your culture, and things that make people like interested in you as a person. But because with Instagram, unless you advertise, each post can't have a clickable link.
Right.
It's very frustrating, so it's not very good for traffic generating. So that's why Instagram is way low on my list. If you have time for it, do it. Because it's brand building is putting in the time for people to get to know you as a person. It's like making friends. And I've thought about moving to like Coeur d'Alene or whatever, but I'm like, I'm 45 years old, I have to start over and make new friends. And then you like post these things on Facebook, they're like, move to Austin, you'll already have 5 friends, you know what I'm saying? So like, even for my personal life, I use lists for like Arizona people, because I thought about moving to Arizona and I would already wanted to make friends. So if you're thinking about, like Tom, if you're thinking about you want a business in Orange County but also LA and also Ventura, then I would make those 3 different lists. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff. So think ahead and then use your tools to accomplish your goals. That's pretty much the bottom line.
Well, every platform has its own voice, right? The voices are all different. And my clients that are doing it effectively, you know, put each message in the voice of that platform. That's why I get bugged when I see somebody put a political post in LinkedIn, right? That's what Facebook is for.
Exactly.
I mean, let's be honest. That's what it's for.
That's my husband.
But if you're
Cat videos and political posts.
if you're a political brand, you could post.
If you're a political brand, then you should. But that's different. Like, there's a lot of publications that have that.
But there's a difference between somebody talking about a political brand and posting something political.
Right. No.
Facebook, in LinkedIn.
Oh, 100%.
So.
100%. I wrote this article, whatever, here it is. Yes, sir.
And every little thing you do has ramifications whether you know it or not. I recently added my photo to a staff page, and without no links or anything, just photo on a small, tiny bio, my LinkedIn views went up 5-fold. And I didn't try, I wasn't trying for that, but it just happened without you really even thinking about it. So
You know why?
it's because they were looking for me.
It's because we're humans.
Yep.
And
And
our
they wanna know
brains
more
are
about it.
wired to connect to other humans. And that's why pictures of people do better on Twitter, and pictures of people do better on Instagram and Facebook. Always.
I've started blogging every Thursday now. So that's what I'm doing now.
Wow.
And so, but my blog posts are meant for LinkedIn. That's what they're for, because I'm in a business-to-business
Yep.
space. So that, I post them everywhere, but I really look at my LinkedIn analytics.
Because that's
what
where
I
the
want.
C-suite is.
What's that?
The C-suite
right.
is on LinkedIn.
That's right.
You want better
those are my
clients?
customers.
Want better customers, better paying customers, you gotta be on LinkedIn, because that's where they are.
I don't get business through Facebook.
I love LinkedIn.
I actually had a client call me, potential client, who said, I don't believe in Instagram. I've never gotten any business from there. But I've been watching, and then da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, oh, why did you call me? She goes, well, I really like your Instagram. Wow. People aren't even self-aware. And the second call, when she said, I don't think Instagram works, I go, friend, you just called me because of Instagram. That's why we're talking. Because she watched me be open about my husband dying and how I'm feeling. And she's been participating in my life for the last 2 years. She goes, I like who you are as a person. So for me, that may get me a
that's
client.
interesting.
And she didn't even realize that exactly what I did was why she called me. And so I said to her, here's the other thing about marketing, you guys. If somebody does call, and you say, please say you ask them, please, for the love of God and all that's holy, please say you ask them how they found you.
Absolutely.
Okay, but don't accept the internet as an answer. Okay, because I had clients that said, "Oh, this website isn't working. This website isn't working for me. I only get phone numbers. I only get phone calls." And somebody said to her, "Where are they finding your phone number?" "I don't know."
Telephone pole.
It's on her website, right?
The
So
other pages.
how, oh, and how did you find us? I did a Google search. What were the terms? Oh, how did you find us? I'm not really sure. Oh, I'd love to know if you remember. You're like, because that's the thing is people don't even know. They're just seeing these billboards. And Coca-Cola, who's been around for 200 years, still pays Clear Channel for billboards. I have a whole blog post about this because it was really fascinating to me. At my old job, I would have a U-turn, and there was a Clear Channel billboard right there in a 7-Eleven. And I would have to see the Coca-Cola products. I'm a diehard Diet Coke fan, have been for 20 years. And I would have to make a U-turn. And even if I made a U-turn and went into 7-Eleven, and even if the 7-Eleven attendant asked me why I bought a Diet Coke, even if I was self-aware enough to think that it was because I was prompted by the billboard, that clerk would have no way to report it to their boss, the franchise of 7-Eleven, or Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola would not attribute that to Clear Channel's billboard at 17th and Tustin. Do you understand? There's branding and people pay for it for a reason. And it costs money to do it right. Love, Bridget. Thanks for having me.